Palantir shares jumping in its public debut. The stock closing at $9.73, opening at $10 a share. Ines Ferre has been closely following this for us over the last couple of days. And Ines, we talked about it yesterday, a lot of hype heading into its first day of trading. Taking a look at the stock's performance today, jumping in its public debut, certainly at least on the first day, living up to some of that hype.
Yeah, certainly. And it was expected that the stock would be above its reference price, would open above its reference price. Asana also had opened above its reference price today. And when you had the direct listing, Spotify and Slack as well, those had also been well above their reference price. What you want to do when you look at these direct listings is see what happens in the days that follow, in the weeks that follow. Although with Palantir, there is a lockup period, so existing shareholders can really sell up to 20% of their holdings while hanging on to the rest until that lockup period expires. So that should help support the price a bit there, but there are many available shares for sale, so there could be more selling ahead as well.
And as we talk about just the nature of Palantir, and it's known as being a secretive company, now that it's going public, it's interesting just in terms of how those dynamics are going to play out over the next couple of years or for a time to come. And it's interesting because today we had lawmakers sending a letter to the SEC, raising some questions about Palantir's relationship with the government and the nature of that relationship. We spoke to Asham Sankar, he's the COO of Palantir, in the last hour, asked him about this. I want to play a quick soundbite of what he had to say.
We embrace complex problems, difficult problems. They have complexity, they have nuance. If you just think about the very first thing that we wanted to start the business to work on is we were going to build software that helps America and her allies kill or capture terrorists. That is a complex and nuanced thing. And so we're embracing that. And it gives us great joy to work on problems like catching human traffickers or cyber criminals or other forms of spies, basically counterintelligence. And I would say that we intend to engage with all of our stakeholders around these issues naturally as a public company.
So, Ines, of course, the question just going forward is how will the dynamics change now that it is a public company, not as secretive as it was in the past, and it's going to likely be the target of at least some government scrutiny like what we saw today.
That's right. And this is why some investors in the company, there was one investor that basically defended the corporate governance of the company, which I know that there has been spoken a lot about on the show, and the fact that the founders will have an outsized control. And he said this is because part of what the company does is politically sensitive. And so this is to ensure that the governance is not influenced by outside pressure. In this case, you're referring to AOC, but it can be outside pressure from different groups that may not be in accordance to, they may not like the kinds of clients that they have or the type of work that the company is doing. So this is kind of to protect the company to keep on doing what it's doing without that outside pressure.
Just a quick comment on that, Ines, also. I mean, it's interesting. So what's Palantir's peer group, right? Zero, nothing. And the closest kind of organization I can think that's like it is something like the RAND Corporation, which is a private think tank that historically has done analysis and data specifically for the United States Air Force. And it's very much of a private company, right? So the tension of this company being public, which has been talked about for a long time, and this has been a huge windup, but it's just weird. Like, okay, how's your book of business going forward? Good. Who's it with? Can't really tell you. How much is it? Can't really tell you. Are any foreign governments involved? Can't really. It's going to be a weird, very weird dynamic going forward. I think it'll be very interesting to watch.
Those earnings calls will be interesting.
Yeah,
certainly will. Probably not a lot of detail or not as much as investors would like to hear. But again, shares jumping, at least in its public debut, with the stock closing at $9.73.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.